of his son, and he said his son told him during his junior year at Battle Creek Central High School that he wanted to join the Army so he could serve under the flag and fight for the freedom of the United States. I served in the military from 1988 to 1993 in the U.S. Navy, and hazing was a definite part of the military experience. I know that the Marine Corps have a hazing promotion blood stripe type of event. Basically, the blue uniform pants of the Marine Corps have a red stripe on the side, and you go down what is called a gauntlet, and there's some hazing there. And also in the Navy, when you are made a petty officer, which is an E4, you are on your left arm is where you wear the crow or the stripe, and that stripe is quote unquote tacked on by people hitting you in your arm. Now, unfortunately, on the ship that I was on, a sailor had been hit with a hammer or with a mallet, and caused bruising completely up and down his arm. And once that was discovered, of course, that tradition had stopped. Another tradition in the Navy, and this goes back hundreds of years from the British Navy, is that once you cross the equator, if you haven't crossed the equator before, you become you're a polywog if you haven't crossed the equator. But once you cross the equator and you go through the initiation, which some people quote unquote call hazing, you're initiated into the ranks of a shellback. I cannot go into what happens during the crossing the line ceremony, but it is a ceremony, and it's one steeped in deep Navy tradition. And I went through it, and hundreds of thousands of others have gone through it. And I think it's something, it's a rite of passage. And I think if it's done healthily and if it's done respectfully and nobody gets hurt, then I don't think how it could be hazing. It's tradition. And I think there's a fine line that we have to follow there when it comes from tradition to hazing. And clearly what happened to Sergeant Roach was a hazing incident and was unnecessary. I know that the military has severely curbed any of those kind of events, including crossing the line ceremonies. And I think in a lot of ways that's sad. But I guess I come from the old school way of thinking when it comes to the military. It is 5:13 and time for some more music. This is Stripped, a cover by Shiny Toy Guns of the Depeche Mode song. Here we go.
Come with me into the trees. We'll lay on the grass and let the hours pass. Take my hand, come back to the land. Let's get away just for one day.
Let me see you stripped down to the bone. Without
yourself, my man, you'll never be what is in your heart. Weep, little lion man, you're not as brave as you were at the start. Rate yourself and rake yourself, take all the courage you have left and waste it on fixing all the problems that you made in your own head. But it was not your fault but mine, and it was your heart on the line. I really fucked it up this time, didn't I, my dear? Didn't I, my dear? Tremble for yourself, my man, you know that you have seen this all before. Tremble, little lion man, you'll never settle any of your scores. Your grace is wasted in your face, your boldness stands alone among the wreck. Now learn from your mother, or I'll spend your days biting your own neck. But it was not your fault but mine, and it was your heart on the line. I really fucked it up this time, didn't I, my dear? But it was not your fault but mine, and it was your heart on the line. I really fucked it up this time, didn't I, my dear? Didn't I, my dear? And it was your heart on the line. I really fucked it up this time, didn't I, my dear? Didn't I, my dear?
And welcome back to the show. That was Little Lion Man by Mumford and Sons. And if you're listening to my show today, I just want you to know that if you're offended by any of the language that I use or any of the language in the songs, number one, this is not regulated by the FCC, so it doesn't necessarily go out over the airwaves, and so therefore not regulated by the FCC. And number two, if you're offended by the language that I use, or which I'm pretty careful with, by the way, or of the songs that I use, just let me know. I'll gladly hear from you, but I haven't heard anything yet, so I'm assuming that you're all okay with it. It's just a matter of how you talk and communication and how you speak. And the song, of course, is just a in use of its art as well. The parents of a teenager with Down syndrome say that the suspect suspect. Okay, hang on a second. Suspect. Okay, got it. The parents of a teenager with Down syndrome say they suspect they were kept off an American Airlines flight because the pilot didn't want a disabled child in first class, while the carrier counters the decision was made for safety reasons. It happened Sunday as Robert Vanderhorst, His wife and their 16-year-old son Beatty were set to fly on American Airlines from New York, New Jersey to Los Angeles after attending a family reunion over the Labor Day weekend. We went from first class to last class, according to Vanderhorst, and from the front of the bus to the back of the bus. And the only thing I can conclude is that the airlines do not want people like my son to sit in first class who may disturb them in some way. But American Airlines said that the boy was agitated and running around the gate area before boarding, prompting concern from the crew. Our pilot noticed, and he asked a customer service manager to talk to the family to see if we could help him calm down, according to airline spokesman Matt Miller. That effort was ultimately unsuccessful, and we made the decision to have the family rebooked on a different flight out of concern for the young man's safety and the safety of others. Vanderhorst, who is an attorney in Porterville, California, said the family had coach tickets, but when they got to the airport, his wife decided to splurge and paid $675 for all of them to upgrade to first class. Beatty had flown about 30 times before, but never in the premium cabin. So the family was excited about the trip. Vanderhorst walked Beatty around the terminal before the flight, and the boy sometimes hums or talks to himself, but doesn't do it in a loud voice, according to Vanderhorst. Beatty wasn't excitable, never ran, and did not misbehave in any way, he also added. But when it was time to board, the family was approached twice by customer service representatives who told them the pilot was concerned the boy could create a disturbance, according to Vanderhorst's account. There was an alleged unease about Beatty's size. He's 5'1" and weighs 160 pounds, and his seat's proximity to the cockpit. He said, "It's not discrimination, it's a security issue." And Vanderhorst said that was a lame excuse. And maybe the pilot was scared that I couldn't control him, he added. But that's insane, because how do you know I can control my wife on the plane? Vanderhorst's wife recorded part of the incident with her cell phone, a video that also shows Beatty sitting quietly. But American Airlines said the clip was filmed during a calm moment. There were times when the boy was calm, but he continued to be agitated when it came time to board, according to Miller, so the airline asked the family to take a different flight. The decision was made with careful consideration and based on the boy's behavior. The family was rebooked in economy class on United, and American has refunded their upgrade fees, according to Miller, and Vanderhorst says